I remember in Oxford, there were two girls, one in Pembroke, I can't remember where the other one was. Angela Eagle, I think, was one of them. They were twins. And her claim that Donald Trump's rhetoric inspired recent riots in the UK has ignited a fascinating but somewhat predictable diplomatic dance. Eagle, speaking at Labour's annual conference, accused Trump of fostering a toxic discourse that emboldened racists, not only in the United States but across the Western world. I actually think she's right. Her comments were swiftly met with a characteristically blunt response from Trump's campaign, with spokesperson Stephen Chung dismissively asking, "Who is she and what does she do?" Well, she's quite an intelligent person who has a role as an MP with her sister, both of them in the Labour Party. I remember way back when they both said that they wanted to be MPs, now they are. So I think that's something of an achievement, isn't it? To say what you want to do and then to achieve it and do it. Stephen Chung's response, I mean, who is he? What does he do? A brush-off that is both curt and classic Trumpian, I was going to say Trumpton, in its disregard for criticism from abroad. And it's interesting criticism from abroad. Sir Keir Starmer, on the other hand, found himself balancing on a political tightrope. While he has made clear that the responsibility for the riots lies squarely with the individuals who took part, I agree with that too, he has been careful not to alienate Trump, a figure who remains influential in global politics despite his divisive persona. Starmer, perhaps with an eye to maintaining diplomatic channels, refrained from directly supporting Eagle's remarks and instead emphasized the need to separate criminal behavior from legitimate concerns about immigration. His comments reflect a desire to keep the focus on domestic issues while avoiding a full-scale transatlantic fallout. Well, of course, he's right. How can everybody be right? Well, one reason that everybody can be right is because they have different jobs. They have different purposes and different, therefore, different objectives, different agenda. The backdrop to this fracas is Starmer's own trip to the United States, where he hopes to engage with key political figures, including Trump himself. And this visit underlines the importance of the UK-US relationship, even as tensions simmer beneath the surface. Eagle's comments risk complicating this delicate diplomatic endeavour, especially since Starmer has been working to rebuild relations frayed during the tumultuous Brexit years and Theresa May's fraught interactions with Trump. It's worth noting that Eagle's critique taps into a broader narrative that Trump's rhetoric, whether concerning immigration, race, or law and order, and is it not laughable that Trump could ever talk about law and order, let alone immigration, has had a ripple effect far beyond American borders. From his infamous "build the wall" mantra to his relentless attacks on political correctness, Trump's language has emboldened not just his base, but similar movements across Europe. Eagle's assertions, while inflammatory, are not without merit in this context. They highlight the interconnected nature of political discourse in a globalized world where the words of a leader in Washington can resonate with and even incite individuals thousands of miles away. It doesn't mean those individuals are not responsible for their actions, but it does mean that we can locate the sort of rhetoric that may inspire those actions. And that means that Trump must take some responsibility. But those people who are rioting in Southport, they can't blame it on somebody in Washington, now can they? Starmer's strategy seems to be one of cautious pragmatism. He understands that in the complex chess game of international relations, overtly antagonizing a potential future US president, especially one as unpredictable as Trump, could be diplomatically disastrous. Starmer's focus remains on distinguishing between unlawful disorder and the genuine debate on immigration. His careful framing of the issue suggests an attempt to engage in nuanced dialogue rather than the blunt force rhetoric that often characterizes political discourse. Trump's response, or rather his spokesperson's response, was predictably dismissive. The line, "Who is she and what does she do?" serves as a pointed reminder of Trump's often dismissive approach to criticism. It's a strategy that has worked for him domestically, where playing outsider against a hostile establishment has galvanized his base. However, it's a risky approach in international diplomacy, where perceived slights can escalate into significant diplomatic tensions. And the "who is she" stance simply indicates ignorance, not superiority. Meanwhile, the UK's domestic political scene continues to grapple with the aftermath of this rhetorical clash. Eagle's comments are likely to resonate with segments of the population frustrated by what they see as the normalizing of hate speech by a major political figure in the world. On the other hand, Starmer's attempt to strike a balance may appeal to those who see the need for both law and order and a rational discussion on immigration. This episode underscores the intricate interplay between domestic and international politics, the power of rhetoric, the importance of diplomatic subtlety. For Starmer, it's a test of his statesmanship and authority over his party. For Trump, it's just another day of dismissing critics with a characteristic wave of the dismissive hand. And for Angela Eagle, it's a moment of speaking truth to power. And well done. Though whether it's a truth that will be heard and considered is an entirely different matter.